All right, Shalom. I'd like to start up saying, Call Halayim Le Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Harikakwadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and double honors to our elder apostle as well, and her one by Yasha, all are down here in the lines and camp. Salutation to the icon that are pushing the truth, sincerity, and truth. And peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. All right, I'm Khalak Sa'an by Yasha, all from the lines in the Yasha camp. And this is another lines of news and prophecy. So this is Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It says, Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. And I remember first coming into truth in 2000 and right at the end of 2013. Um, you know, that was one of the main topics that the draft is coming back. And everybody thought, oh, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. Yep, here it is. Here it is. It says eligible U.S. men will be automatically registered for military draft pool beginning in December. See that? And we were already speaking on that, man. I remember that when I first came into truth. That was one of the main topics. The draft is coming back, and everybody thought that was so far fetched that we didn't know what we were talking about. But here it is, right here, up close and personal, right here, smack dab in your face. Right here, smack dab in your face, man. That's crazy. Um, this devil don't give a damn. Like, as long as it ain't his kids, he don't care. He don't care, man. You know, he don't to push his agenda to fight his cause. It's not like we're fighting for freedom. They're fighting for their bullshit political propaganda to push their narrative, to push their agenda. That's the only reason why this war is happening. And they're sending other people, women, or other people's kids, you know what I'm saying, to that war. The ways of Esau is always grievous, man. It says the United States will automatically register eligible men aged 18 to 25 for a military draft pool beginning in December. The rule change was submitted by the Selective Service System, which maintains a database of Americans who would be able to serve in the military. The statutory change transfers responsibility for registration from individuals with men to SSS through integration with federal data sources, the agency website said. Mm. Man, see, that's why you have all these social security numbers, ID card, all that kind of stuff for them to keep tabs of. And the census, that's another big part of it. The census, what is it for? It's to keep tabs on everybody. So just for things like this that comes about, you know, which is like I said before, this is turning into the whole Vietnam thing again. But this time it's going to touch American soil. I said that as the rule change remains under review by regulatory affairs and is awaiting finalization. The Daily Mail has reached out to the Pentagon and the White House for comment. The last time a draft was conducted in the United States was in the 70s during America's highly controversial involvement in the Vietnam War. Right? So you remember you had Muhammad Ali, who was frowned upon because he ducked. He was one of the ones that were able to dodge the draft, and they frowned upon him about it. They said he was a coward. But you had Trump. He dodged that bitch. Uh, you had a whole bunch of Edomites that dodged that bitch. They ain't nobody say nothing about them. They want our children to go over there and fight that war. They want our children to go ahead and yeah. They want mainly Jake to go over there and risk their lives. See that? It says despite no active conscription, men between the age of 18 and 25 had still been required to register with the Selective Services Systems should one be activated. The agency's website said that this rule change would merely streamline this process as part of a workforce realignment. It says there have been multiple proposals to also add young men to the draft, but none that have passed into law. Men who men who fail to register face in line up to $250,000, 5 years in prison, and a loss of eligibility for federal programs. See that? Shortly after the Iran war began, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt refused to rule out the option of an appearance with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News. It said President Trump wisely does not remove options off the table, meaning there's something they're going to push towards. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, Leviat told Fox News host Maria, whatever her name is, on Sunday. She insisted, however, that it's not part of the current plan. But why is they pushing it for it's going to go in effect by December? They sitting there lying on top of lying. Trump has also Trump has so far publicly downplayed the option of deploying ground troops, saying he'd only do so if necessary, but that it would be a waste of time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, because they're gonna get pieced up. It says, but at the same time, reports emerge of sources claiming the president has privately expressed serious interest in such a deployment because he already got sending them over there being set up. All right, it says Bartrimo noted that mothers are worried there would be a draft that takes their sons to war. What about fathers? Huh. Huh. What about fathers being worried? What about man? What about the ones that are already? What about the males that are already in the military fighting, so they sons don't have to come see what they're seeing, and there's a possible risk that they're going to be saying and fight on in enemy lines with their sons because you have active listed infantry military officials that have uh, sons that are around from the ages of 18 to 25. This devil doesn't care about who he kills to push who gets like when the first couple of American personnel that got unalived in the war in Iran, he said, sorry to say, but that's a product of war, and there will be others. See that? There's no remorse. But his whole main theory is as long as his agenda gets done, that's the only thing that matters. It says it's not part of the current plan right now, but the president again wisely keeps his options on the table. Says she said that Trump wants to continue to access the success of this military operation before making a decision. Uh, Assess the success. There's no success in it. That's why they have the 2 week layoff. I was talking to the elder the other day, and he mentioned it in his lesson to where like this 2 week payoff layoff is for America to regroup because the pilots are getting worn out and tired. They're actually losing a lot of personnel, and they need to get some money back up to continue to fight. It's not like they're compromising a ceasefire because of any moral reasons. Just because they need to regroup. So what do they do? They say, okay, we'll call for a ceasefire, but they have other proxy countries still striking Iran. While America say, oh, we're gonna play the backfield, other countries are stepping up. I forgot what was it, the UAE or something like that. The elder was telling me about like some like small little United Airlines. Must be building a nest. I'm watching some cardinals keep coming back pulling sticks off this back and forth. It was a male and a female. Um, yeah, that bombed Iran because it was an article that I meant to pull out that said America was caught breaking the ceasefire deal. How they were caught because they had little smaller proxy countries stepping up, and America like, oh, we have what we do that. See that? They playing on these people's faces, man. And pretty soon, people are getting fed up with the United States. You know, it says polls for decades have shown that Americans are strongly against a draft. Their resistance shaped largely by the failures of the Vietnam War and preference for all volunteer professional defense force. Right, you still got people that are still survived from the Vietnam War that were thrown in that war against their will, still mentally messed up now. So any attempts to bring back the draft would have to be approved by Congress, which would need to amend the Military Selective Service Act. They already said this shit's going into effect until December. He didn't wait for Congress to approve this war that he's going through. He went behind. He went around all that. He's been going around the Congress to push his agenda. You know, that's just the works of the devil, man. That's what he was set up to do. He's gonna come down having great wrath because knows that he has but a short time. Let's get a couple scriptures real quick. In Psalms 10:1, it says, "Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thy face in times of trouble?" Because these are troublesome times, you know. But we understand this is leading up to our salvation, man. It said, "The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined." So what this is going to do is all kind of that boulder that they're pushing up the hill is going to roll back down on them. See that? For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire, and blesses the covenants whom the Lord abhorred. Right. So these are the upper elites, the ones that are pushing, ultimately pushing this agenda. And Trump's just nothing but a puppet. So everything to do to push their heart's desire is persecuting the poor. While you scratch your back, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type. While our backs around here just itching. You see that? So through his pride, he persecuted the poor and enlarged his desires as hell. It says, verse 4, it said, "The wicked through his pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all of his thoughts." Right. You know, he has no thoughts of any type of moral, he has no moral compass at all. All his thoughts are wicked. He has not a righteous thought in his mind. Verse 6, it says, no, verse 5, it says, "His ways are always grievous." See that? Always in like ways of travail. Man. His ways are always grievous, that judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. Right. And right now, the public are becoming the enemies because they're realizing what this devil's all about. See that what his motive and his agenda is all about. You know? Verse 6, it said, "He has said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversities." They'll send everybody else's kids out there, but they won't send their own. They feel like this will never happen to them. They ain't never got to worry about the things the pressure that they put on the people. They feel like they'll never be sitting in that seat of adversity. But Yahweh Shemel Shai has different plans. It says his mouth is full of cursing and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. See that? Under his tongue is found mischief and vanity, man. So there you have it, man. By December, they're gonna put automatically register military for military draft pools for males from the age of 18 to 25. And I got a question: what if they're born male, but they switch it up? Are you gonna send them out there too? You know, Lord willing, lesson edifying and serve this purpose for the hope elect, the ones that truly believe in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai. You know, with that, I'd like to say, call Halayim, La Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Harakak Wadash, Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone. Double honors to our elder apostles as well. To her one body, Yasha Allah down here in the Lions and Camp. Salutations to the ark that are pushing the truth, sincerity and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom.